Okay. So hope you can see my screen now. So you can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. 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 So coming to data warehouse. So the first thing we need to understand why we really need a data warehouse. What is the requirement for it? So if I consider a organization, okay. So assume we have a organization here. So which is running for last 25 years. Okay. So they've been running for this organization for last 25 years. So what they might be storing there is amount of data which they might be storing there. Okay, for the last 25 years. So whatever data they might be working on, the customer details, the employee details, sales, product, the different sectors on which they are working. So for everything they might be storing the data. So basically they might be storing a huge amount of data of their organization, right? So and the data what they are storing here for last 25 years, this data, it is stored in a heterogeneous form. That means they might be storing this data in different forms here. It is not like they are storing the entire data at one place. So they might be storing this data in a heterogeneous form, that is in different forms. Okay. So for example, so this 25 years of data, they might be stored in some database in the sense where we store the data in the table format. Okay. So they might have stored few of its data in the database table. Then the few of the data they might have stored it in a XML format. Okay. Few data they might have stored it in a text format. Okay. Then something in CSV or Excel format like this. So this huge amount of data they might have stored in different heterogeneous sources. We call this as sources. So they might have stored it in different heterogeneous sources. Now assume this company, now organization, they want to do a performance analysis, okay, of their business for the last 10 years. Okay. So now if they want to do a performance analysis on the on their growth or the business for the last 10 years, so basically what they need to do is they need to get the data from all these heterogeneous sources. Okay. So they have to get the data from all these heterogeneous sources into at one place. So as I told, these are heterogeneous sources. Here the data, the same, that the data might be stored in different format. So if they want to do a performance analysis, first they have to get the data from these heterogeneous sources, format this data or convert this data into one unified form and store it somewhere. Then they have to do the performance analysis on this data. So basically it takes a huge amount of time to get the data from these heterogeneous, from different heterogeneous sources, then format it into one unified format, and then apply all your business conditions or analytical logics, everything, to get the report or the performance analysis of that organization. So this basically it will take you a lot of time, manpower and effort also. So in order to avoid these things, so they came up with a concept called data warehouse. Okay. where now the organizations, instead of storing the data in this in different heterogeneous sources, they store this historic data, the 25 years of their data, in a data warehouse. So now if they want to do any kind of decision making, okay, they can directly come to this particular data warehouse where they have the entire huge amount of historic data, perform the analysis, do some business analysis, decision makings, which will help them in their growth. So nowadays, if you guys know, so it's everything about the data, right? So it's very important to store the data in a more flexible, more easy manner, which can improve their ability to improve the business, to make some decision makings, right? So nowadays organizations, they sorry, so nowadays the organizations, they apply so much of effort and time to format the data what they are storing. Okay, so this is really important. So in order to avoid this, storing the data in different heterogeneous systems, then formatting it, so they came up with a solution called as data warehouse, where they can store the entire organization or a business data at one place, and they can do the performance analysis. They can come up with decision makings, generate the business reports based on the requirement, which will really help them in the decision making. So that is why a data warehouse was introduced. This is one example. Second example, if we go for, it is about the OLTP and OLAP systems. Are you guys aware of what is OLTP and OLAP? Any idea what is OLTP
Transaction
and
process and
OLAP?
analysis process.
All right. So these are the two types of online processing systems we have. OLTP stands for online transaction processing. Yeah, and OLAP stands for online analytical processing. Okay. So these are the two ways of online processing systems where we store our data. So in the online transaction processing, we store the day-to-day transaction data. Okay. For example, if I consider a ATM, so ATM, the data what we the data about the ATM, like if I am doing a transaction, debiting, crediting through the ATM, those data, it will be stored in the online transaction processing, that is in the OLTP systems. It is something like day-to-day transactions which will be stored here. And OLAP is online analytical processing, where we store the historic data. So in OLTP, we store the day-to-day transaction data, but OLAP is something where we store the historic data. And this data is mainly used for analytical analysis purpose. That is why it is called as analytical processing. So, and this OLAP system is nothing but our data warehouse. Okay. So OLAP systems are nothing but the data warehouse systems. So as I told, online transaction processing is where we store our day-to-day transaction data. If I consider a ATM, I might be doing a debit or a credit. So the most common things what we'll be doing on an online transaction processing, if I talk in terms of SQL, is we'll be doing a insert. Okay, insert the data, update or delete. So these are the three common things we'll be doing on a online transaction processing systems. We might be inserting the data based on the credit or debit, we will be updating it. But OLAP is something where we store the historic data. We perform only the select year. So the data what is stored in the data warehouse will not change frequently. So we won't update the data there, we won't delete the data there. So we only store the historic data and we select the data. So if I want to do a performance analysis of a company, so I need to extract the data for the last 5 or 10 years. So in order to extract, what I have to do, I will be using a select query. Okay, so the SQL operations what we'll be doing on OLTP is insert, update, delete, and on OLAP is a purely select. Okay, so the queries what we use here are very simple queries. So since we don't we might need a, so it will be storing a very limited amount of data, so we'll be using very simple queries here. But on OLAP systems, that is our data warehouse, we'll be generating complex queries, because these queries will be used to get the performance of the company, to make some decisions, right? So we'll be performing a complex queries on these systems. A simple example again, if I want to take on a banking domain, if I talk about, so if I consider a customer, okay, so there was a customer, so in last 5 years he has changed his current location. First he was in X, location X, then he changes to Y, then he changed it to Z. So in OLTP system, only his current location will be stored, that is Z. So first time when he was in location X, when he has generated an account, created an account, his location will be X. So entry of this customer address will be made in the OLTP system. Next, when he changes his location from X to Y, we will update his current location from X to Y in the same record. Then again, when he changes to Z, we will update his record. We will be doing a insert for the first time, and then we will be performing a update on his data as and when it got changed. But in OLAP, so as I was telling, so OLAP is something where we store our historic data, which is our data warehouse, and we perform only the select query there. We were talking about an example of a customer who has an account in a bank. So he has changed his location 3 times, X, Y, Z. So OLTP will store only his current location. For the first time, it will do an insert, then it will do an update on his location. It won't create a, it won't store the historic data. But in OLAP system, we'll store all his 3 locations. That is where we say it stores the historic data. Okay, so just to differentiate which was his historic location and which is his current location, we will have a column or an attribute in the data warehouse. So data warehouse is nothing but a table again. So it's a database. Data warehouse is nothing but a database where we store the entire data in the table format. So to differentiate the historic data and the current data, we'll have a column in the data warehouse saying something called a status or a flag, where we say the current record, we say name it as current data, and the historic data, all the records for that historic data will give the column value as historic, so that it will be, if we want at any point of time, if I want to see the current details of the customer, I can say select star from that particular table where flag equals to current data and customer equals to something XYZ. So it will give us current details. If I want to get his historic data, I'll say where flag equals to historic data. So using that flag, I can get his current details or historic data. So these things we will see when we create the SCDs and all. So I'm just giving you a background. Okay. So these are the two main examples we can talk about when we discuss why we need a data warehouse. Okay. So that is about the data, why we need a data warehouse. Coming to next thing. So now we know the need for the data warehouse. So now we can think about talk about what is data warehouse then. So what actually a data warehouse is, what kind of data it stores there. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah, Sandesh.
Yeah, Sandesh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, which screen are you seeing now? Yeah, now it's updated because I have connected from my laptop and mobile also. In mobile, it was not updating. That's why I asked. Okay, fine. Okay, coming to data warehouse. What is data warehouse? So data warehouse is the collection of data, and what kind of data it stores is the kind of data it stores is something subject oriented. Okay, and integrated, time variant, and non-volatile. So these are the kind of data which a data warehouse stores. The data which is stored in a data warehouse, it is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile. Okay, so the data warehouse, it is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile collection of data. Then what is subject oriented is, so the data warehouse, it collects data which is related to a subject, which is relevant and which is related to a subject. For example, if I consider an organization, it collects the data of subjects which are related to, I can say, about sales, okay, or products, or customers data, sales data, products data, suppliers data, like this. So it stores the data related to a subject which is spread across the organization. That's why we say it as a subject oriented. Okay, in an organization, these are the different kinds of sectors, like subjects, like sales, products, or customer supplies. So it stores the data related to a subject which is spread across the organization. Then is integrated. When I say integrated, as we discussed earlier, so the data is integrated from multiple sources, heterogeneous sources, like database, okay, XML, CSV, Excel. It can be a CSV, then it can be a XML format, right? And it can be a text format. There are so many sources where in formats where we can store the data. And PDF we can say, Excel we can say, COBOL sources. So here in the data warehouse, data is integrated from these multiple heterogeneous sources and stored in at one place. That's why we call it as integrated, because the data is integrated from multiple sources. Then time variant. So why we say it as time variant? Because it stores the historic data. in data warehouse, we store the historic data. All right. So as I told, if I take a customer in data warehouse, we store his previous address also and his current address also. So historic data is stored here, so we call it as a time variant. And finally, we say it as non-volatile. Why? Because the data what is stored in the data warehouse, it is stable and it is consistent. Okay, the data which is stored in the data warehouse is stable and consistent, and it will not be altered. So we won't alter, we won't run an update query or on this data what is stored in our data warehouse. It will be always stable and consistent, and it is primarily used for querying analysis purpose, for generating the reports. So that's why we call data in the data warehouse as non-volatile. So these are the four features of the data which is stored in data warehouse: subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile. So with this, if we want to know what is the definition, if we want to create a definition for the data warehouse, what is data warehouse then? So we say data warehouse is a central repository. Okay, so we say data warehouse is a central repository of, so what kind of data we store? We store it here a historic data. So data warehouse is a central repository of historic data, and that historic data which is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile. Time variant and finally non-volatile. And this data which helps in decision making. So which helps in decision making. Why we do the decision making? To better the future business. So this is what my data warehouse is. Data warehouse is a central repository of historic data which is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile, which helps in decision making for better future business. This is my definition for data warehouse. Okay. So, and what is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non-volatile? We saw. So subject oriented, it collects the data related to a subject which is spread across the organization, like sales, product, customer, suppliers. Integrated, since it integrate the data from different heterogeneous sources. Time variant, because it stores historic data. Non-volatile, because the data it stores is stable and consistent. Okay, that is what a data warehouse is. A data warehouse is a central repository of historic data which is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, non-volatile, which helps in decision making to better the future business. Okay, so this is about what a data warehouse is. So now, since we know why we need data warehouse, what is data warehouse, the next thing is to understand the design approach for creating a data warehouse. So if I want to understand the design approach for data warehouse, what are the approaches we have? If I want to create a data warehouse, what are the different design approaches we have for creating a data warehouse? So we have two approaches, design approaches for creating a data warehouse. One is called as bottom-up approach. Okay, and the second one is called as top-down approach. These are the two approaches, design approaches we have for creating a data warehouse. One is bottom-up approach, one is top-down approach. So then what is this bottom-up approach? What is top-down approach? When we go for this bottom-up approach or top-down approaches, in the bottom-up approach, different data mass. Okay, data mask is nothing but a subset of a data warehouse. Small modules of data, we can say. Okay, in bottom up approach, we take the data mask here. These are all the data mass what we have. So in bottom up approach, we combine the data mass together to form a data warehouse. These small data mass, that is the subset of data warehouse, they are combined together to form a data warehouse. This is called as bottom up approach. First we create the data mass, then using this data mass, we combine this data mass and create the data warehouse. Okay, so when we can go for this bottom up approaches, or who actually follow this bottom up approaches, the small scale industries, the small organizations. So this bottom up approach, it is suitable for small organizations. Why it is suitable for small organizations is because this approach, it is faster, okay, and it is cheaper, and also it is less complex. When we consider the complexity, it is less complex, it is faster, cheaper, and less complex. And for small organizations, these things matters a lot, right? Since they will be having a less budget and less manpower, so they always prefer to go with the things which are very faster, cheaper, and less complex. So they go with this bottom up approach. If we choose a bottom up approach, what we have to compromise with is, with bottom up approach, we have to compromise on single version of truth. So what is single version of truth? That is the consistency of the data, is nothing but the consistency of the data. So with bottom up approach, we have to compromise with the consistency of the data, that is single version of truth. So but for small organization, this consistency of the data doesn't matter much. They mainly focus on the things which is faster, cheaper, and less complex, so they go with this bottom up approach. Example, we can say simple example for this bottom up approach is our personal computer itself, where local drives, what we have, we can consider the local drives as data mask and the hard drive as our data warehouse. So the local drives are combined together to make a hard drive. So that is nothing but a bottom up approach. So bottom up approach, here data masks are combined together to make data warehouse. It is preferred by small organizations since it is faster, cheaper, less complex, but they will have to compromise with the single version of truth, that is the consistency of the data. The next design approach is a top-down approach. According to this approach, according to this top-down approach, if we create a data warehouse using a top-down approach, we say the data what is created with this top-down approach is subject oriented, integrated, okay, time variant, and non-volatile. The definition of the data warehouse what we have, right? So the data warehouse which is created using a top-down approach is subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile collection of data. So here, what happens is, here data warehouse is created first, and from the data warehouse we create the data mass. So from data warehouse, data mass are created from the data warehouse here. So in the top-down approach, first we'll create the data warehouse, and from the data warehouse we create the data mass. So data mass are created from data warehouse here. This approach, it requires more planning and design work, which has to be done at the beginning of the project only, because I have to first create a data warehouse. It has to store all the data, use data. From that, I have to create data mass. So it requires more planning and design work at the beginning stage only. So that's why it is complex, and it is not cheaper also. So this approach is followed by big well established organizations. Why? Because if we create a data warehouse with this approach, we can heavily rely on the single version of truth. The consistency of the data will be 100%. And for big organizations, well established organization, consistency of the data really matters much. They want the quality of the data to be 100%. Though it takes long time, it takes more money, but more important thing will be on the consistency of the data. So here in the top-down approach, data mass are created from the data warehouse. So these are the two approaches which are followed for creating a data warehouse. One is bottom-up approach for small-scale industries, top-down approach for well-established organizations. Okay. So when we know the approaches, design approaches, the final thing is to understand what are the process, what are the steps involved in building a data warehouse. Okay, so the final thing will be to understand the process to build a data warehouse. Okay, process to build a data warehouse. The process to build a data warehouse is called as data warehousing. Okay. So in this process, what we normally do is we retrieve the data from heterogeneous sources, right? We take the data from different heterogeneous sources and produce a accurate and consistent data that is stored at one place. We take the data from different heterogeneous sources, and out of that we produce a accurate and consistent data which is stored at one place, nothing but the data warehouse. So the different steps or the process involved in building a data warehouse are, we have 5 important steps here. So step 1 is called as data mapping. Step 2 is data extraction to staging area. Third is data transformation. Fourth is data loading. Fifth is backup and archive of data. So these are the 5 steps which are involved in building a data warehouse. The first step is data mapping. So what is data mapping? A very important aspect in integrating the data from various heterogeneous sources. It is very important step. So what we do here is we link the data between the source and the destination tables or attributes. So just to let you know guys, so in Informatica, so the place from where we pick up the data, okay, is called as a source, and the place where we load the data is called as a target. second. Okay. So the place from where we extract the data, either it can be a table or a file or a XML, anything. It is called as a source, and the place we are loading the data. Again, loading can be to a database table only or a flat file or anything. Is called as a target. The source and target terminology we'll be using most frequently when we work on Informatica tool. Okay. So here data mapping is nothing but linking the source attribute with the target attributes, and it is the most important step. For example, assume I want to integrate the data from different heterogeneous systems, okay, like database table and XML or something. So assume in my table, in my database table, so we have the organization has stored different customer details in different heterogeneous systems like database, okay, like in database table, then in a text file, and then in some XML, and then in some CSV. So in database they have stored the data of the customer, like first name and last name, they have stored in two different attributes. One attribute is first name, second attribute is last name. In the text file they have stored it in an attribute called as full name. In a single attribute they have stored the first name and last name. In the XML they have stored in a reverse order, say like last name then the first name, something like this. So in each of the heterogeneous sources they have stored the same the data of the customers in different format. Now I want to load, integrate the data from these heterogeneous sources, take it into one and load it into my data warehouse. So in my data warehouse there is an attribute view to store this data. We have two fields or two attributes like first name and last name. So the first thing in building a data warehouse is to map the create a data link between the source attributes and the target attributes. I need to create a mapping between this. So I need to create a mapping saying, okay, the from the table the first name column should be mapped to or linked to the first name column in my attribute in my data warehouse. The last name column should be linked to last name. Then in the text file everything is in a single attribute first name, so I need to take this data from the full name attribute, split them and send the first name to first name column, the second name to last name column. So the last name here first attribute should go here, the second attribute should come here. This data link, I have to map each of the source columns attributes with the destination attributes, and this is the most important thing and the first step I need to do to build a data warehouse. Okay, once I have finalized this, I have this list, which column from the source to be linked to the which column of my target table, then I can go with the next steps. So this is the most important aspect. Okay, once I am done with this data mapping, the second step will be extracting the data extraction to staging area. That means, so once I have done the data mapping, once I have done the mapping from my source attributes to target attributes, the next thing what I will be doing is, so these are my different heterogeneous systems sources. So I will extract the data from these sources and I will load it into one staging area. This is my second step. This is my staging area where I am loading my data. Okay, from all the heterogeneous systems. So they were stored in different heterogeneous systems like database tables, text files, okay, and XMLs and all. So from all these heterogeneous systems, I have extracted the data and I have loaded into one place called staging area. Why we need the staging area? So, and this step, storing the data into a staging area, is an optional one. So it is kind of a temporary storage. So before loading the data to a data warehouse, from this we will load it to a data warehouse actually. So before loading the data to our actual data warehouse, normally we store it in a staging area. Why? Because this staging area, again, it is a table. Okay, it will be kind of a trunk and load table. Trunk and load. When I say trunk and load, it will store only the current day data. So before loading the next day data, I will delete the previous data and then I load it. That's why we call it as trunk and load. So why we go with the staging area is, if I want to see all the data from all the heterogeneous sources, I have these many heterogeneous sources. If I want to see the data what was coming from all these heterogeneous sources at one place, I can refer here. I can go to the staging area and I can refer. Instead of going to each of the sources, opening the data, I can refer that data at one place here in the staging area. So basically we extract the data from the heterogeneous sources and load it into a staging area here. This is the optional one. Most of the time they go with the staging area. If you don't want to go with the staging area, you can remove this. You need not to have the staging area. So you can just extract the data from the source and go with the next step. Instead of storing it in a temporary place called staging area, you can exclude that and go to the next step, that is the data transformation. So if I have so the next step is data transformation, and this data transformation is the most complex and expensive step which is there in this. For in out of these 5 steps, this is the most complex one and expensive step. Okay, so in before loading the data to the data warehouse, here we do something called as data transformation. That is nothing but formatting the data as per the requirement of my data warehouse. I just told you, right? So here in my text file, I was storing the both customer first name and last name in one attribute, but my data warehouse says it has two different attributes. The first name should go to the one field first name, the last name should go to last name. So basically what I have to do, once I extract the data from my source, I need to split this column based on some functionality, like if there is a space between the first name and last name, using that space I have to split, I have to format the data, I have to create two attributes out of that, and then I have to send it to my data warehouse. So these kind of data formatting, or assume like there was a date function. Okay, there was a date field, and this we were having a date in the sources, and in the text file this date was stored as a string here. Okay, in the string format, or let's say like, okay, so in the heterogeneous sources the date was stored in different formats. So in the database it was stored as YYMMDD. Okay, and in text file it was stored in a different format, say like DDMMYY. Better I use this. There is some issue with my mouse today. Okay, so here I was storing the date in YYYYMM format. In XML I was storing like, it was stored like DD MONYY. So but my data warehouse, in the data warehouse they say the format in which the data has to be stored is YYYYMMDD. Then I need to do a data transformation. At this stage, I have to convert this date from DDMMYYYY to YYYYMMDD. Okay. So these kind of data transformations, formatting of the data, I can do it in my data transformation step. Assume like I was getting a extra spaces in my customer name. Data warehouse says when you load the data to data warehouse, there should not be any extra spaces. Then I can trim those extra spaces in my data warehouse. So this formatting of the data, I can do it in my data warehouse data transformation section. So one more example is like, so my company was, so assume like there was a company A, okay, and it has taken over a company B. Okay, so company A has taken over a company B. Now, once they have taken over the company B, now they want to store all the data of company B into their company A data warehouse. Okay, so till now, company A might be storing the data in one format, company B might be storing the data in one format. Now they want to store both data at one place in a data warehouse. Then what I have to do? After getting the data from the company B, I have to do a formatting of the data, which will suit to the data of company A, and then store the company B data in my company A. So that formatting, I can do it in my data transformation section. In Informatica, to perform this formatting of the data, we have a huge set of transformations, which can be widely used to do a formatting of the data, to do the transformation of the data. This is where we use our Informatica transformations, expression, lookup, joiner, router. There are so many transformations. Okay. Once I have done the data transformation, this data is ready for loading to the data warehouse. So the next step will be data loading. So post the data transformation, the output of data transformation is something which is requested by the data warehouse. So I can load the data to my data warehouse now. That will be my fourth step. Final step is backup and archive of data. This is where once you have loaded the data to the data warehouse, so we frequently do take a backup of this data warehouse and store it in some archive location. So maybe like on a end of the day or end of the week, like that, they frequently take a backup of data from the data warehouse and store it in an archive location, so that in case if there is a software or a hardware failure or due to some data loss, due to some software or hardware failure, if there is any data loss in the data warehouse, they can get the data from this archive location and restore it in my data warehouse. That's why on a frequently basis they do this. They take a backup and archive the data from the data warehouse. This is my final step. So these are the 5 steps which are involved in building a data warehouse.